Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 545 based on novel. So let's start. In the eastern part of the vast all-heaven star system, there was a planet. Although this planet had spiritual energy, it wasn't dense, it was an ordinary cultivation planet. After the two wars, not many cultivators were left on this planet. Only foundation establishment and core formation cultivators remained. Most sects were abandoned. It was autumn. The autumn wind blew by, causing the dead, yellow leaves to fly through the sky. There was a valley between the mountains. The valley was filled with autumn orchids. This kind of orchid only bloomed in autumn. The fragrance of the flowers wasn't strong, and under the autumn wind, there was a sense of desolation. Every autumn, the orchid in the valley was very beautiful, but they only bloomed for less than a season until winter came. All the orchids would wither until the snow covered them. They would disappear into the cold winter until the autumn wind of the next year awakened them once more. Right now, it was not far away from late autumn. The orchids in the valley were blooming, revealing the last of their beauty for the year. Deep inside the orchid, there was a house. This house was very dilapidated and had obviously been empty for a long time. Perhaps thousands of years ago, someone had lived here and died with the orchids. Right now, there was an old man sitting outside the house. He wore blue and his face was filled with wrinkles. He silently looked at the orchids before him, and his eyes were melancholy. Autumn wind blew through the valley, causing the orchids to sway. The winds landed on the old man's body, causing his clothes to flutter and a few strands of his hair to drift. A few yellow leaves silently floated toward the valley before the old man. At that instant, the leaves blocked the view of the orchids. The old man let out a sigh and raised his head. He suddenly began to cough violently for a long time before he calmed down. He looked at the autumn leaves with a strange gaze, his eyes filled with reluctance. Autumn has arrived. These orchids don't have much time left. Soon, they will wither and die. Only by this time next year they will bloom once more, but I will not be here to watch them bloom. The old man shook his head and raised his hand. He looked at his hand and saw a strange, orchid-like mark that gave off bursts of light. Over the years, these 3 seals have been completed. This is the last thing I'll do for my teacher, the old man murmured. This day next year. Where will I be? I don't want to reincarnate anymore, I just want to close my eyes. Teacher, are you coming? The old man raised his head. The old man didn't look back, he sat there as he bitterly said, I know you're here. The autumn wind took those autumn leaves into the sky and far away from the valley. However, the figure that came with the wind stood behind the old man and looked ahead. It was unknown if the figure was looking at the old man or the orchids that were about to wither, perhaps it was all the same. Wang Lin stood there in a white. The old man lowered his head and slowly turned around. He looked at Wang Lin with a complicated gaze followed by bitterness and then calmness. However, there was respect hidden deep in his eyes. After a long time, he slowly knelt down and whispered. Disciple Xie greets teacher. Wang Lin looked at Xie, and his heart ached as if all the blood had been drained from it. He saw Xie current physical state. Xie knelt there and softly said, the 7-colored celestial sovereign's 3rd soul is me. But I'm Xie, not him. Why is it you? Wang Lin's face was pale. He didn't have much contact with Xie, but like 13, they were both his disciples. Teacher, Xie looked at Wang Lin, and his eyes slowly became moist. After a part of disciples' memories were awakened, I chose to escape. I struggled, I was unwilling. I came here to look at the orchids and think about my life. I finally understood that I'm Xie. I'm not the 7-colored celestial sovereign Su Dao. Xie smiled. The 3rd soul of the 7-colored celestial sovereign contains memories of his life and is very useful to teacher. I know that right now the 1st soul, the 2nd soul, and the 4 generals are all looking for me. Although the 4 generals were servants of the 7-colored celestial sovereign, over the years, their thoughts have changed. They are looking for the 3rd soul for their own purpose. No matter which of them find me, I can't escape the fate of being devoured. Teacher, this is the fate of the seven-colored celestial sovereign. This is my fate, I can't escape. Even entering the reincarnation cycle won't work. The third soul has escaped for so many years, but now it is the end. The third soul only has memories, no divine sense, no origin soul, no spells. Although the soul is strong, it has no ability to protect itself. Rather than being devoured by others, I'd rather give it to teacher, Xie muttered bitterly. Wang Lin silently pondered, and his heart felt stinging pain. Although he was standing there, it felt like he had entered an area that was very cold. The coldness penetrated his bones and caused pain throughout his body. Earlier, he had told Qing Shui that he would kill the third soul to keep Qing Shui safe, but now how could he do it? This was not keeping his promise but killing one's own child. His memory of Xie Qing appeared in Wang Lin's mind. Although they had been buried in his mind, they were so clear right now, how could he forget? Wang Lin cared about relationships. Teacher, disciple has made preparations. If I don't die once I'm found, the other two souls will fuse and then the 7 fragments will automatically return. Although I feel that 5 of the 7 have been completely separated, the remaining 2 will return. I can also feel that those 2 are very important to teacher. If I don't die, the third soul won't appear. If I don't die, they will die. If I don't die, the 7-colored celestial sovereign's 3 souls will return back to 1 and teacher will die. Xie Qing looked at Wang Lin, his eyes bright. Over the years, after the third soul awakened, I used my soul cultivation and formed 3 seals. The first seal requires no external force. Once I die, the third soul won't enter reincarnation and can be taken by teacher. At that time, the third soul will completely awaken after my death. It will open up the core of the cave world, go there, and open the door. Teacher will be able to leave the cave world. The remaining 2 seals are something I prepared for teacher. Borrowing the force that will rush in once the door opens, teacher can borrow that power and combine it with these 2 seals to seal the first and second souls. Then everything will calm down. As Xie Qing spoke, he began to cough. As he coughed out a mouthful of blood that sprinkled on the orchids before him. It dyed the flowers red, creating a shocking sight. This was because his soul had been exhausted. For these 3 seals, he had given it his all. Wang Lin looked at Xie Qing and couldn't say a word. He listened to Xie Qing, and when he saw Xie Qing cough out blood, his heart ached even more. At this moment, he suddenly looked up at the sky. His expression was fierce as he let out a roar. I, Wang Lin, took my own fate back from the heavenly fate and became the master of the heavenly Tao. But why can I still not decide my own fate? Why am I forced to encounter such a decision? Heaven, whether it is the heaven of the cave world or the heaven of the immortal astral continent, do you see this? If the heavens are so unkind, then I, Wang Lin, vow to destroy the heavens in my lifetime. The veins on Wang Lin's face swelled and he looked crazy as he let out a roar. His body erupted with a powerful aura. This aura was like smoke and quickly gathered to form an illusionary sword. This sword gave off a shocking aura that could destroy the heavens. At this moment, Grand Empyrean Xian Luo's expression changed greatly for the first time since he entered the cave world. He stared at the illusory sword around Wang Lin that only he could see and was shocked. Void Extinction Aura. This is the Void Extinction Aura. This kid's words could create the Void Extinction Aura. He. As Xie Qing looked at Wang Lin, tears began to flow. He knelt down and kowtowed once. My soul has been seriously injured while waited for teacher to come. I also hesitated, but now I have no regrets. There's no need for teacher to act, I'm at death's doorstep. This is the last time I'll call. Teacher, Xie Qing looked at the orchids before him and closed his eyes. The tears that were about to fall were stopped as he revealed a smile and took in his last breath. He was dead. The moment he died, slivers of souls came out of his body. This was the third soul. This contained the memories of the third soul's countless reincarnations, including Xie Qing's life. Due to Xie Qing's seal, the third soul could not enter reincarnation. The memories rapidly dissipated, and once they completely dissipated, Xie would be gone forever. This is not the last time. Wang Lin, filled with anger, suddenly lowered his head. This was anger at the world. He stepped forward and arrived next to Xie. He waved his hand and caught the third soul. The moment he grabbed the third soul, it completely awakened. The planet rumbled violently and the sky churned. The 4 great star systems trembled. Even the outer realm faced a shocking change at this moment. A thunderous rumble filled the entire ancient star system as fog flooded everything. This fog churned as if there were countless fierce beasts inside. Every inch of the outer realm was shrouded in fog. A powerful pressure came from the distant inner realm and shrouded the entire cave world. Under this pressure, all the ancient star system cultivators trembled violently. They were at a loss as to what had happened. However, the roar from the sky was like the end of the world, creating a powerful pressure on people and giving them a suffocating feeling. The countless fierce beasts were like this as well. No matter how strong they were, they all trembled. Although their inheritances had dissipated, the memories buried deep within their souls slowly emerged. These memories were fear toward the heavens that had been left by their ancestors. This originally would never happen, but now they had no choice. As the entire ancient star system changed drastically, the fog became more and more dense. Soon, it blocked everything and occupied the entire star system. This fog had appeared too quickly, giving you no time to react. Just at this moment, somewhere in the ancient star system, the star system trembled and a large amount of rocks appeared out of thin air. They looked like stone and quickly condensed into a slate. This slate's shape was irregular, as if it was part of something that had collapsed. It appeared from the void and was formed by dust. This large slate gave of an ancient aura. After the slate formed, it flew toward the inner realm. At this moment, in the outer realm, the sovereign suddenly opened his eyes. His expression was filled with fear. He quickly got up and took a step forward. He appeared in the star system filled with fog. He looked into the distance, and the fear was slowly replaced with shock. The third soul has awakened. The core of the cave world has reopened. The sovereign's face was pale, but he didn't hesitate to charge toward the inner realm. At the same time, in the various areas of the outer realm, the surviving concubines, including the one that Wang Lin had met in the ancient tomb, all awakened from their cultivation. They all looked into the stars with different expressions. There was excitement, complication, and fear. The core of the cave has opened. A moment later, the concubines flew out from various places in the outer realm toward the inner realm. At the same time, in the inner realm, in the brilliant void, the area around planet Suzaku trembled. The fog churned and the void outside the planet was silently torn open. The aura of the foreign battleground leaked out of the rift and fragments quickly flew out. They gathered to form another stone slate. This slate was like a small continent and it flew toward all heaven after it appeared. This wasn't the only place. This same slate formed in the other 3 star systems as well. There was an unknown amount of slates rushing toward all heaven from all over the cave world. As the slates flew forward, the expression of the 7-colored Daoist, who was searching in all heaven, changed greatly. His body trembled as he stared straight ahead, and a monstrous rage surged in his heart. The third soul has been found. The core of the cave has been opened. Who found the third soul first? The 7-colored Daoist seemed to have gone crazy as he charged forward. There was also the 4 generals, they were also in all heaven. The giant fog beast before them let out a sob and trembled, not daring to move forward. The rumble echoed across the star system and the fog suddenly appeared. The aura of the core opening filled every part of the cave world. The 4 generals' expressions changed greatly. They could hardly believe it, they thought they were the fastest, but they were shocked to find that someone had found the third soul before them. The cave has opened. Who found the third soul? Could it be the 7-colored Daoist? The 4 of them didn't hesitate to charge toward where the aura was coming from. There was another figure that was faster than the 4 of them. As they moved forward, this figure flashed by the 4 of them. The figure was Old Ghost Shon. Right now, his expression was gloomy and contained a hidden sense of fear. If he didn't find the third soul first and it was instead found by the seven-colored daoist, what awaited him was a painful devouring and death. Unfortunately, the cave world was in chaos, so even when he spread out his divine sense, he couldn't see far. It could be Wang Lin or the seven-colored daoist, he didn't know exactly who. However, it was because of this unknown that his fear had become even stronger. Under this fear, he rushed forward like crazy. At this moment, he could not choose to escape. Even if the seven-colored daoist had found the third soul, he was going to fight back while the seven-colored daoist was devouring the third soul. As old Ghost Jean moved forward, a giant shadow appeared him. This huge shadow had a cloak made of fog that covered their face, revealing only the gloomy eyes. Its hair fluttered and its body was huge, covering most of the sky. This figure surrounded old Ghost Jean. This was one of the three souls, the one that held all the Tao comprehension. It was also at this moment that the cave world went into an upheaval that had never been seen before. All life in the cave world began to panic. At the same time, this force tore open the ancient celestial realm in the outer realm that Wang Lin had sealed. Although most of it had collapsed, there were still some surviving seven Tao sect disciples within. When the seal was torn open, they charged out. While shocked, they charged toward all heaven without hesitation. There was also the woman that hadn't gone to the celestial realm and instead stayed on a planet in the summoned river. This woman was called Zixia, and she was one of the concubines. She silently pondered for a moment before she clenched her teeth and stepped forward. As the entire cave world changed, the large slates began to charge toward all heaven. In the brilliant void, on the hidden planet Five Elements, the group of cultivators led by the old man named Ma hesitated for a bit. Then they let out a sigh and rushed toward all heaven. Yunifeng followed the old man named Ma and looked toward all heaven. His eyes shined with a strange light. Wang Lin, our last battle had no conclusion. Perhaps we can determine a victor in the core of the cave. The cave world rumbled violently and the fog moved like the sea. If one looked from above, they would see that the entire cave world had turned into a fog sea, with only all heaven, which was where Wang Lin was, being clear. It had become a shining light in the darkness. At this moment, in the celestial realm, Qing Shui stood outside his house and looked at the cloudy sky. He felt a call in his head, and this call made him feel extremely irritated. Also in the celestial realm, Zichu Nan awakened from his cultivation. He gloomily looked ahead, but it was unknown what he was thinking about. Just at this moment, a mighty voice echoed in the mind of Zichu Nan and Qing Shui. This voice belonged to Tao Master Blue Dream. I promised Wang Lin to help him. That strange place has opened, but I don't have the bloodline of a celestial, so I can't enter. I need to borrow your souls. Do you two agree? The fog rushed in from all directions of the cave world and gathered in the sky. At this moment, Wang Lin was standing in the valley on the planet in all heaven. His eyes were filled with sorrow and anger as he watched his disciple Xieqing call him, teacher, one last time and die with a smile. He was angry because the heavens were messing with him. If the heavens don't respect me, then I'll destroy the heavens. Wang Lin looked at the dark sky with the third soul in his hand. The moment the third soul appeared, Wang Lin formed a connection with it. He knew that the core of the cave had been opened. He also knew that everyone was rushing here. Their goal was the third soul in his hand. However, at this moment, the third soul was different to Wang Lin. This soul was no longer the seven-colored celestial sovereign, it was his disciple Xieqing. That was definitely not the last time you will call me teacher. I'll not allow it. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes as he looked up at the sky. He suddenly began to laugh, and this laughter was filled with anger. With teacher here, there will be a day when you can reform your soul and awaken your memories. When you awaken, you will still be my disciple. Wang Lin closed his eyes, and when he reopened them, the third soul fused into his body. Just at this instant, the dark sky rumbled violently. The fog in the sky surged like crazy and became dense. Wang Lin saw a giant, stone slate the size of a continent appear in the sky. At the same time, the second stone slate came from another direction in the sea of fog. The third slate. The fourth slate. The fifth slate. The fog in all heaven around the planet Wang Lin was on-churned as several stone slates gathered in a flash. They didn't fuse together but connected to form an outline. This outline was still incomplete, so its shape was unknown. However, the aura and pressure it gave off caused Wang Lin's heart to rumble when he saw it. He understood what it was. Although he was shocked, his expression remained unchanged. He just stood there and calmly looked at it. Soon, several more slates appeared from the fog and were added to the outline. As more slates arrived, the outline slowly became complete. What appeared before Wang Lin was a giant door. This door wasn't the door that led to the immortal astral continent but the door to the core of the cave. Once this door was opened, one could enter the core of the cave. Although it was Wang Lin's first time seeing the door, he was not a stranger to it. On one of the slates that formed the door, Wang Lin felt the aura of the foreign battleground from planet Suzaku. He had spread out his divine sense and saw the shocking scene there. It was a piece of a broken door. Today, the cave door that was broken by the heavenly Tao appeared once more, causing the cave world to change dramatically. The door was endless in size. From a distance, it looked very majestic. Although it was mostly complete, there were still many cracks on its surface. However, soon, a large amount of gravel flew out from the fog. This gravel that had disappeared into the void when the door shattered made up the missing bits. When the door reformed, these missing pieces quickly arrived, filling the cracks on the door. When the door was completed, an aura that shook the entire star system erupted. This aura formed a storm that was set off with the door at the center. The storm carried a powerful force as it suddenly spread out. The fog in the distance became distorted, and the fog in the area suddenly became thinner. 7-colored light flashed in the fog and the 7-colored Daoist walked out. His expression was gloomy, and when he arrived, he immediately saw the door along with Wang Lin. "So it's you." Killing intent appeared in the 7-colored Daoist's eyes, and he felt relief. Compared to the third soul being found by Old Ghost John, he preferred it to be Wang Lin. As long as it's not Old Ghost John, there is a chance to turn it around. The 7-colored Daoist waved his sleeve and he walked toward the planet outside the door. However, just as he raised his feet, the storm erupted from the door. The storm was extremely powerful, causing the figure of the 7-colored Daoist to distort. His expression changed and he was pushed back. At the same time, Old Ghost John appeared in another direction. Thunderous rumbles rang out after he appeared, and the fog around him scattered. Old Ghost John stood there with his hair fluttering, and the gaze from the shadow around him revealed a strange light as it stared at the planet outside the door. As one of the 3 souls, he also relaxed just like the 7-colored Daoist and revealed monstrous killing intent at the same time. It's him. Even though he has the heavenly Tao, he is seeking death since he obtained the 3rd soul. Old Ghost John clenched his fist inside the shadow but didn't charge forward. Instead, he waved his sleeve and resisted the push from the storm. A thunderous rumble echoed as he was pushed back with the shadow around him, but the strange light in his eyes became brighter and brighter. Wang Lin was not shocked by their appearance. The awakening of the 3rd soul and opening of the core of the cave would naturally be detected by others. Wang Lin didn't look at the 2 of them. Instead, he looked down at Xie Qing's body, which was kneeling before him. The sorrow in his eyes became even stronger. "Since you like this valley of autumn orchids, sleep here accompanied by the autumn orchids until the day I awaken you," Wang Lin muttered as he raised his right hand. The valley rumbled and the autumn orchids moved slowly, covering Xie Qing's body, leaving a grave that was covered in autumn orchids. With a sigh, Wang Lin plucked an orchid and looked at it. With one step, he left the valley and arrived in the sky. He took another step and disappeared from the sky, charging into space. The orchid slowly fell from the sky, but it didn't change directions, it slowly landed on the grave in the valley. The orchid was very beautiful, as if it was filled with life force. After it landed, it gave off a burst of ghostly light and then crumbled to ashes. At this moment, the wind blew by and the ashes were scattered across the valley. From now on, this nameless planet would be covered in autumn orchids every autumn. The fragrance of the autumn orchids filled the planet and accompanied the sleeping Xie Qing. The storm raged around the door and prevented everyone beside Wang Lin from getting close. Inside, he faced no danger at all. This storm was created when the door was reformed. This door reformed when the third soul awakened, and the third soul was inside Wang Lin. Therefore, this storm had no effect on Wang Lin. Before him was the gate, and behind him was the planet. Aside from the door, he also looked at the seven-colored Daoist and Old Ghost Jean. Old Ghost Jean was braving the storm. When he saw Wang Lin, he clearly felt the existence of the third soul inside him. He immediately roared, "Wang Lin, give me the third soul and this old man will ensure the safety of you and the entire celestial realm. This old man will also open the door for you to head to the immortal astral continent." The seven-colored Daoist's eyes lit up and he spoke with a gloomy tone, "Wang Lin, if you give the third soul to this lord, I'll resurrect your wife. I don't want the heavenly Tao, and I'll give this cave world to you. As long as I have the third soul, I'll leave and never return to this place. How about it?" His words were even more alluring than Old Ghost Jean's. If not for his relationships with Xie Qing, Qing Shui, and Sichu, Wang Lin would be tempted. However, at this moment, Wang Lin acted like he didn't hear anything. He stood outside the gate and closed his eyes as if he was waiting for something. Wang Lin's behavior caused Old Ghost Jean and seven-colored Daoist to overflow with killing intent. However, they couldn't move forward due to the storm. But they knew the storm would eventually dissipate. It didn't take long for a rumble to resound from the other side of the door, and the four generals arrived. They were pushed back by the storm and took a moment to stabilize themselves. When they looked over, their expressions changed. They immediately saw that the third soul had been taken by Wang Lin. They also saw that Wang Lin was surrounded by the seven-colored Daoist and Old Ghost Jean. There was no escape. Their appearance didn't surprise Wang Lin at all. His eyes were still closed as he calmly stood there. A moment later, a howling sound echoed and the sovereign appeared outside the door. His body was pushed back and he arrived next to the seven-colored Daoist. He stared at Wang Lin's figure with suspicion in his eyes. Shortly after the sovereign arrived, several rays of light broke through the fog and arrived. Inside the rays of light were beautiful women. They were the celestial imperial concubines. One of them looked at Wang Lin with a complicated expression. She was the third concubine, the one who had interacted with Wang Lin in the ancient tomb. The 7 Tao sect disciples that had escaped from the ancient celestial realm in the outer realm arrived with the concubines. They surrounded the area and stared at Wang Lin. It didn't take long before Zixia arrived from the summoned river. After looking around, a gaze fell on Wang Lin, who was surrounded, and there was a flash of killing intent in her gaze. She hated Wang Lin from the moment he refused to join forces with her. Killing intent had already appeared in her heart back then. If not for the fact that she knew she was no match against Wang Lin, she would have attacked long ago. When she saw that Wang Lin was surrounded, she sneered. A moment later, there was a flash of blue light and Tao Master Blue Dream appeared. There was something different about him. The seven-colored Daoist and Old Ghost Jean immediately looked over. Tao Master Blue Dream's expression was calm as he stood there. He completely ignored the gazes of the seven-colored Daoist and Old Ghost Jean. The last to appear were the people from Planet 5 Elements, led by the old man named Ma. Their appearance shocked everyone. The moment they appeared, Wang Lin opened his eyes. His gaze was calm, and the moment he opened his eyes, everyone's attention moved away from the people from Planet 5 Elements and gathered back on him. Everyone here had a high cultivation level, and an ordinary person would be startled by this gathering. However, Wang Lin's expression remained neutral and his gaze swept by everyone here. Those that should come have all come. What you all want is merely this soul. Wang Lin raised his right hand and the third soul appeared. This video will end here.